Hello, welcome to today's video. We are going to be on pages, let's take a look. We're going to be on pages 37 and 38 of the Ukulele Book. So in these two pages, this is lesson 8, we're going to be talking about eighth notes. So if we haven't already learned about the eighth notes, let's just take a quick review of what the eighth note is. And for that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the whiteboard. Okay, so we have here the whiteboard with a staff. I'm going to go ahead and just draw a treble clef. And it has a breakdown on page number 37 of the rhythms, starting with the whole note down to the individual eighth note. So essentially, when we have a quarter note, so here's a quarter note, and what we want to do is break or slice that quarter note in half. So let's go ahead and slice it in half, and that will turn into two individual eighth notes, just like that. So originally, the quarter note, let's go ahead and draw that again. This is one beat, so we're going to say 1. But then when we divide it or subdivide it into two eighth notes, which are two halves, two equal halves of the quarter note, this will become half beats each, like this, half and half. But when we talk about counting the beats, we're not going to say half, half. Instead, we're going to first of all acknowledge the first beat, and the first eighth note becomes 1. The second eighth note becomes and. Now, if you ever were to tap your foot up and down, your heel stays on the floor, but the toes come up and down. I want you to think about this being down and up. So the foot comes down to the floor, the toes, then the foot comes up on the second one. So when we count this, we say 1 and. If we were to have many of these, we would say 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Always counting the beat first, and then subdividing the other half of the quarter note with an and. Okay, so as an example, in the book, it shows us a quarter note, two eighth notes, quarter note, and two eighth notes. So let's go ahead and write that out. Let's erase all this stuff here. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can write out the other notes. We have a quarter note, and then two eighth notes like this. Our time signature is 4/4 time. Once again, the beats are 1, 2, and this plus sign will be counting, will mean and, 3, 4, and. Okay, so let's go ahead and clap and count the beats there. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Okay, so that's a little bit interesting to understand. So let's go ahead and come back to the main screen now. Okay, so when we have the quarter note, of course, we're going to be clapping one beat. And then when we have the eighth note, we double time it by saying 1 and. So it's a little bit faster. Let's count 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's strum 4 quarter notes on the chord C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. We're going to slice each of those quarter notes in half, and they now create 4 quarter notes to 8 eighth notes. It sounds faster because the notes are shorter. Quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to clap eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and once again 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Remember that first we say the beat number, then we say and for the second eighth note. Let's now strum that on the chord F this time. Ready? 1, 2 quarter notes first and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just like that. Remember, the upstroke will use our thumbnail. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And there you have it. So we call it double time. Now, when we go to the next page, we have a little exercise to practice the eighth notes. We're going to fingerstyle here, finger pick. Most of the time, the pieces in this book won't indicate how to play the eighth notes and melodies, it says here, since there are several good approaches, and we are to choose the technique that works best for us, and we'll discuss that in later videos. So as you can see there, it has the counts for the eighth notes and the quarter note. Let's go ahead and clap and count first. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the last measure 1 and 2, 3, 4. So mixing quarter notes with eighth notes. Let's go ahead and fingerstyle. Ready? Here we go. Prepare with C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, make sure you're rotating I and M. Now with the eighth notes, let's prepare by playing a little bit faster. Listen to my demonstration first, and I'm going to count while I play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you're just playing the same thing you just did, but playing each note twice, double time. Once again, C, C, E, E, F, F, G, G. Okay, rotating the I and M, please. Next one is the same as the first, just as eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the last measure is 1 and 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. We're going to count as we play. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Mute. Very good. Little demonstration there about the eighth notes. Now let's go ahead. On page number 38, we have lesson 9, the dotted quarter note. Okay, so on the dotted quarter note, it includes the quarter note with a dot and an eighth note at the end. So let's go on back to the whiteboard and talk about that. Okay, so here we are once again at the whiteboard for time. Let's go ahead and write out a quarter note. Oops. Okay, quarter note. So this here is beat 1. I'm just going to write the numbers here for the beats. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 2 eighth notes next door. Okay, so here are 2 eighth notes. Remember, as we talked about before, the beats are 2 and. Okay, so when talking about a dotted quarter eighth rhythm, as it shows on page number 38, the beats are going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do is I'm going to erase this beam here. The little bridge, as I like to call it also, is going to be separated, and each of these eighth notes are going to be by themselves. Okay, so let's remember, first of all, that a quarter note has 2 eighth notes inside of it. So we can go ahead and actually put an and here to indicate that these 2 belong into that quarter note right there. Okay, so now the dot. What does the dot mean? Well, this is what it means. Let me go ahead and show you. It means that we are tying a full quarter note of one beat with just 1/8 note, half of a beat. Therefore, a rhythm of a dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. Now, it kind of doesn't look like 1.5 beats here, but actually, hear me out. Remember, this too indicates the first half of the quarter note, which is when sliced. So this is only half of a beat, remember. This is only half of a beat right here. And then the second part is this 8th note right there. Okay. Alrighty. So when we have 1 beat and a half, we are counting 1 and 2. But then this and here is going to be left by itself. So let's now go ahead and rewrite all of this here. So instead of having 2 8th notes like that, we're going to just indicate that tied 8th note with a dot. Very minimalist, right? So now we see that this dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. And the 8th note here at the end indicates the and of 2. When clapping and counting, it means this: 1, 2, and. Let's go ahead now and take a look to see what that looks like on the video. Okay, so now we have the quarter note tied to 1/8 note with another 8th note left by itself. So the way we clap that is we're going to indicate that with a shake. When we tie notes together, we always shake. So here we go. Let's clap 1 beat, 1, and then we have 2 8th notes. Just think about it that way. 2 and. Now take that first 8th note, tie it to the quarter note. We're going to clap and shake. 1, 2, and then the last 8th note will be and. Once again, 1, 2, and. Or if we want to subdivide everything with 8th notes, 1 and 2 and. Or like this: 1 and 2 and. But for me, I like to just do it the long way. 1, 2, and. Once again, 1, 2, and. Let's go ahead and strum that on the key of D. Here we go. Or the chord D. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. Wrong chord. 1, 2, and. Or if we want to do subdivisions, 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so there it is. Now, that rhythm is important because it is used in Ode to Joy there on page number 38. So let's go ahead and take a look at Ode to Joy. I'm going to demonstrate the performance first, and then we'll talk about counting. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and play and say, from the beginning, starting on E, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D, 2. So there it is. There's the first one, the dotted quarter 8th rhythm. So when you play that on E, D, it's going to be counted like this. Let's go ahead and play that with from E to D. E to D, D, 2. So it's going to be counted 1, 2, and 3, 4, including the half note afterwards. It's nice to have another rhythm afterwards to give it balance. Once again, counting 1, 2, and 3, 4. Let us now play the remainder. Let's see if we can keep that up. Ready? Measure number 5. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, 2, and 3, there was that dotted quarter, eighth rhythm again. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. So there it is. Or together, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Moving on, measure number 9. D, D, E, C, D, E, F, E, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, D, G, 2. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, 2 and 3, 4, or D, 2 and C, 2. So there you have it. That is how we play Ode to Joy. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. Here we go. Follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two. And release or mute. All right, well, thank you very much for following along with today's lesson. Very extensive, but very essential. And we will see you at next lesson. Bye-bye.